Okay, hey YouTubers. I have not been on YouTube in a very, very, very long time. I've been through so many downs, more than ups, but I'm still here, so I have no complaints. I'm just basically gonna start like a vlog of things that go on with me where I don't have anyone to basically vent to understand. So I'd rather just vent, and if you understand, you understand. If you don't, you don't. Really doesn't matter to me. It's whatever. But for about it's going on 7 years, almost 8. I have been dealing with panic and anxiety. I am 28 years old, and gonna be 29 next month. Ooh, ooh, Gemini's. But anyway, I'm 28 years old, and I honestly feel as though my illness has ripped me of my life, of how my life would have been, or where it would have been. I recently moved to North Carolina. I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia. And I like it here. It's a good place. I have built my clientele up with customers. I am a hairstylist. My hair looks terrible. I gotta do it tomorrow, ASAP Rocky. But my story is I suffer with panic and anxiety kind of bad. A lot of people, when you say that, they be like, what is that? Or they look at you as if you're crazy. But nobody really knows the struggle of living with something like that every day of your life, every hour of your life, every minute of your life, every second of your life. Some people, I call them slim sufferers. They suffer from it, but it's not as extreme as my suffering. The anxiety that I suffer from is fear of death. Every day that I wake up, every night that I go to sleep, I fear of dying. I have a strong fear of dying. I always think that everything that I do, or not always everything I do, but just living day to day, I feel like that day is going to be the day that I die. I'm honestly not ready to die, but like I tell all people all the time, I really don't have a choice into when I die, but know that I am terrified. It's really hard living like this because you just can't enjoy life with a fear that strong. Like, my fear is like really, really strong. It's so much that I want to do, and I can't do it because I fear that I'm going to have a panic attack and I'm not going to be able to escape from it or get to a place where I'll be alright. It's really hard living like this, and people that go through this can't understand because, like, day to day, you basically, like me moving here, you know, you move to a new place, like, people without this problem, they want to know, like, where's the movie, where the mall, what are clubs, where this, where that. The first thing that someone that suffers from what I suffer from, we look for hospitals. Like, where's the local hospital? Where's the local fire department? We look for secure places, safety nets, where we can get help if we need it. So it's like, who wants to live like that where you can't enjoy life? I don't drink. Not to say I want to be a drunk, but I want to be able to go out, have a drink, and enjoy myself. in the atmosphere. But I can't for the simple fact of fear that I'm gonna die. Like, I could take a sip of a drink, and as soon as I take the sip, I have a headache, and I just feel like I'm gonna be sick, and it's gonna get bad. I'm gonna be really sick, and I'm gonna die. It's a very hard, like, I mean, I can't say it but so many times, but it's a very hard lifestyle. It's like when this all started, it started in 2008. I lost my grandmother. I live with my grandparents. You know, I've always grew up around family. I've always grew up around people. Like, it was never a time that I was alone or away from someone. But like I said, I lost my grandmother, and it was like, you know, being there with my grandmother and watching her go through what she went through with her illness was like the hardest thing. At the time, it didn't seem hard for me. I guess I didn't look at the fact that my grandmother was sick with what she was sick with. My grandmother had cancer, of course, but I guess I didn't look at it as if that she would die like that. I had an aunt that passed away from breast cancer, and during the time of my aunt's passing, that was during the time I was smoking weed, and I can honestly, truly say, as an adult, you know, I knew my aunt was passing away, but it was like that was something that I didn't want to see. So I didn't see my aunt pass away. I didn't, you know, I saw her change physically with her illness, with breast cancer, but I wasn't there, so I had like a blocker of me not being there, and that was during the time that I was smoking weed and, you know, wanting to run the streets and do all that. But when my grandmother passed, that was during the time, like, I had stopped smoking weed, so I wasn't smoking because I had had a scare. I had took an X pill and never doing it before, and it like kind of freaked me out. So I had stopped smoking weed after that. So during the time my grandmother was diagnosed and my grandma was sick, I wasn't smoking, so I had no outlet. So I wasn't forced to be there, but it was like I was there because I had nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? Friends that I used to hang around, we weren't as close because we all were growing up into being adults and trying to make a way for ourselves. But watching my grandmother pass away was like the worst for me. And, you know, I had lived in Florida for a while. During that time of me living in Florida, I started taking nursing classes. So I had a CNA background with dealing with patients. I worked in various nursing homes with dealing with patients with like bed sores, colostomy bags, urine bags, things of that nature, like all kinds of medical things. So my grandmother ended up with two of those things, which was a urine bag and a colostomy bag. Yeah. And, you know, me having that background in nursing, I was the one to assist with changing and, you know, bandaging and stuff like that. So I was there for that. And it was like, you know, doing those things, I never thought or had the thought in my mind that, hey, my grandmother's gonna die. I never, ever had that thought during those times. And I knew my grandmother was really sick. But I didn't look at her as she was dying. I still looked at her as my grandmother. She just had small things To me, they were small. That was going on with her, but they were extreme things. So, you know, during the downtime of my nanny passing, I was there, and it was like the hardest thing. I've never experienced death in my family. I mean, I've had death, but it wasn't as close as it was with my immediate family as with my grandmother passing, my nanny passing. So, excuse me, y'all, I'm sorry. But like, a lot of people don't believe in like ghosts or things like that, and I only share this with a few people, and I know the people that I shared it with, they may not believe me, but I have a strong belief in God. I have a belief that there is a place after this. But one particular night, during the night that my grandmother was sick, I was in, the way the house was set up, it was a mirror at the top of the steps, but you could see into my grandmother's room from that mirror. And I was sitting on the edge of my bed, which the edge of my bed was basically, you could see in the hallway. And I looked in the mirror. I would never forget this. I looked in the mirror, and like I told you all, my aunt passed away. I don't know how many years it was, or if it was a few years before my grandmother passed. But I looked in the mirror, and my nanny had a big old recliner chair that she sat in, and she looked out the window in. But she was getting ready to sit in that chair, and I could see my aunt just as clear as day, holding her hand out as if to help my grandmother sit down in her chair. And I screamed and closed the door. And my nanny was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, nothing. I never told my grandmother that because I didn't want her to think that something was happening to her, or that was my aunt coming to get her. But I saw that, and I never will forget that till my dying day. I would never forget that. But after that, it was like my grandmother went downhill with her illness. And my grandmother, she came home. She wanted to come home to pass. So this one particular night as she was going down, it was crazy because I was watching somebody leave this earth little by little. But this one, we had started just giving her whatever she wanted. It's your word, Nanny. You have whatever you want. It's no limits, no restrictions. So this one particular night, we were all there around her, and we was asking her what she wanted. And my nanny had one request. And I think this request is what started my fear. It made me so scared, because just the thought of not being able to do that no more. Something so little, something that people take so much for granted. Something so little could have such an impact on me, to think that, hey, it's going to be one day where I can't do that. But my grandmother's one request was to allow her to put her feet, these were the words out of her mouth, was, help me so I can put my feet on the ground one last time. And I would never forget those words. Because something so little as being able to walk around or being able to sit on the sofa, it impacted me so much till my grandmother made that request because she knew she was leaving here. And to this day, that still bothers me. That's my fear of not being able to do that no more. Being able to walk on the ground, being able to see, being able to speak, being able to love.